This session features a dynamic and accomplished president of Universal Music Publishing Group for Latin America and US Latin, Alexandra Lioutikoff. And she's joined by our moderator, Billboard's VP of Latin, Leila Cobo. So ladies, let's get started.
Thank you, James. Alexandra, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm trying to find myself on the screen.
I am trying also to work this out.
Well, Alexandra, I'm seeing you really big and I'm seeing myself really small. Are you seeing me really big and you're really small? Then we're fine.
I don't see myself. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm in the same boat. I see you big and I see myself very small, but I can hear you.
Okay. Well, it's a pleasure to interview you. I have to tell our audience little known fact. Alexandra and I met many years ago when we were both starting in the music industry. I was a very rookie reporter at the Los Angeles Times, and Alexandra back then was doing press and publicity for Latin music artists, and that is exactly how we met in LA. And of course, then life has brought us full circle, and here we are. But Alexandra, I always think of how interesting your story is and how inspirational it is for many in the industry, not just women, but everybody who starts in the industry, especially coming from another country. So can you tell us how you got into the music industry?
So first of all, thank you, Layla, for doing this with me because, again, we know each other for, I don't know, I'm not going to say how many years, but I know. And also I want to say hi to everybody who is watching this. It's so strange to do this with no real audience. So hello, Loretta. Hello, myself. Hello, Lauren. Whoever is watching, I don't know. Anyway, yes, I started in the music industry. I came here just going back because a lot of people sees my name, Alexandra Lioutikoff, and everybody's confused. Is she Spanish? Is she Latin? Whatever. I just want to clarify that I was born in San Francisco. My father is Russian. My mother is French. And I grew up in Spain. They took me to Spain when I was 6 months old. So I grew up there. I consider myself from Spain, actually from south of Spain, Andalusia. And I came back to the States, when I was older. And the way that I started in the music industry is I was working at the time in Telemundo News in LA. I was according with Enrique Gratas, actually.
Oh my God!
Yes, yeah, that was a long time ago. And then I started to work in a company that created like an MTV style music videos, and we had a show in Univision once a week. And that's how I started to meet people in the industry, the labels, etc. And one day I went to a party in Miami. I was living in LA at the time. And I went to a party in Miami, and Salvador Perez, that he at the time worked for Manolo Diaz, a very, very well-known, respected music executive. He approached me at the party and said, "You live in LA?" Like, "Yeah." "Well, we need somebody to open up the Polygram record offices Latin." And you're talking to me, why? "Well, we think you will be perfect. This isn't a party." I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never worked in the music industry. He says, "Trust me, you're going to love it. You have to do it." And at the time I had another offer, not in the music industry. And I thought, wow, that sounds cool. And he offered me the job in a party. That must be really fun. So I accepted it, and I started running Polygram Records Latin in LA. And that's how we met.
That's extraordinary. An example of how networking really can get you places in the most extraordinary ways, no?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, after that, many things happened. And I ended up, I was at Ascap for 20-something years, and now I'm in Universal Music Publishing.
Yes, so Alexandra ran Ascap's Latin division. She headed Ascap's Latin division for many years before being named to head Universal Music Publishing. And there's many things here that I want to ask. And then last year, she was named president of Universal Music Publishing Latin America. So she was the first woman to hold the post of head of the publishing division for Universal, and then became the first woman ever, I believe, right, Alexandra, to be the president of a Latin division of a major publishing company. So that's something that comes, I'm sure, with a lot of weight. Do you feel you have an added responsibility because you're a woman, or no? Or you're assuming this job as you would, as anyone else would?
I assume this job as the president of a region with the responsibilities of the president of a region. I have a responsibility for the writers, for my company, for my team. I think the only difference, because I'm a woman, is I feel that there's many other women in great leadership positions, and I think it's important that the girls and the new generation of girls and women coming behind us, they can see that they can get to great places. Because there was like the glass ceiling. Many women, and you know that, Layla, they had that experience, or they have that experience in different ways. I've had it, and of course in the Latin industry it's a little bit more. But now that I'm here in this, I take it as I'm the president, I'm the head of a region, and that's my responsibility. And I think the difference is the way that maybe a woman manages the team or leads a division. I think there could be a little bit of a difference as a male can lead a team because of the sensibilities, but I think that would be like the only difference.
So how would you describe your management style, Alexandra? Are you tough as
Fantastic.
nails?
No.
Or are you?
Well, I think you can get more things smiling and asking than telling somebody what to do. That's my management style. I believe in teamwork. I believe I believe in trusting my team. I do not micromanage at all. I don't think so. I mean, I'm starting to get a lot of texts from my team like, no, it's not true. No, I'm kidding. But I do think I'm a good manager. I delegate a lot. And I think trust. I think very important that you trust your team is very important. Everybody makes mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. I make mistakes. And we all need to work together to get everything resolved. But I think, and one thing that I really learn is that, I've had great bosses, but I also had bad bosses. And I don't complain because I actually learn from them. Because I remember in one instance, and I'm not going to say what happened, but I remember this bad boss that did something to me. And I will never forget it. I remember thinking, if one day I'm in that position, I will make sure I do not treat my team this way. So I really learn from experience. So I think no, I know I'm a great manager. My team is not around, or the Ascap team is not around because they know how I manage, to say anything. But so I'm saying it, yes. So it's all about team and trusting.
Now you actually just won the Ascap Latin Publisher of the Year award.
There it is. Yes.
And there it is. Let me put on my glasses to see if I can see all the. But I have the list of songs, and it's a very impressive list of songs. It includes several songs by Bad Bunny, including Calladita. It includes Aullando by Romeo Santos. So these are people that you've signed since you've been there.
Correct.
The first one, I believe, was Romeo Santos, which is quite a coup because Romeo came from being an independent publisher, and this was his first major publishing deal, which he signed really when I believe he was the top ranking songwriter at Billboard at the time. So how did you convince Romeo Santos to go with you?
Well, Romeo had a great relationship with us in Ascap, and in his team, I have to say, Marti Cuevas she always handled his publishing, and I have to tell you, he was in Ascap and here, one of the best clients. I mean, he works so hard. He doesn't complain. I think he's like really easygoing. He's a genius in songwriting, and
Yes.
and for me, when I started this position, I'm thinking, who from all the writers that I know, who would be like for me the most honor to represent at Universal, and it was Romeo Santos. And I we started talking to at the time to management, and also with the help of Jody, our chairman, who has been such a she's supported my division so much since I came in. She supported me, and with her support, we were able to sign Romeo Santos, and it was fantastic, and it's still fantastic.
So it wasn't that Romeo came looking for you. You guys actively sought Romeo out.
Correct.
And what about, which of course shows great initiative. And what about Bad Bunny? Can you tell us the story of that signing?
Well, that happened actually last year, and Noah, and he started talking to our office in Miami, and then this also was a teamwork, and then he started talking to Los Angeles, and also with the help and support of Jody, we were able to sign Rimas, and which Bad Bunny is part of Rimas, and here we are, and we are very happy to have it.
Oh, you signed the entire Rimas catalog.
Yes, yes.
Now, what do you look for, Alexandra, when you sign a songwriter specifically or a producer specifically? Whether they're big or I guess if it's Romeo Santos, we know what you're looking for. But when you find an artist or a producer that's not that established yet, what do you look for?
Okay, several things. Of course, talent, but talent is what I think talent is, or what is a good song. Maybe you don't, but there is, at the end of the day, when there is talent, or let me put it another way, when there is not talent. So we get writers in. We're looking for talent, but we're also looking for a connection. We need to connect with that writer or that producer. We need to connect to be able to work with him or with her, and also we want that writer to have a work ethic, and be wanted to work, and wanted to do it, and to learn, and it's a whole package. And when you have that package is when you feel excited, and that's what we go for.
But how do you determine that? Like, if you find a songwriter you like, do you maybe send them first to song camps and things like that to see what happens? Or do you go right away and sign them first after seeing?
No, I think it depends. It can be both. I mean, we've encountered new songwriters that have come to the office and play their songs, and we are like, oh my God, these are unbelievable songs. Or they play live, which is great. And you have a talk with the writer, and if the writer brings a team to the team, you also look at what they're thinking, what they're planning, because at the end of the day, this is a business. And or if there is an opportunity to send this new writer to a session, to a song camp, that's great. We will do that, even if they later don't sign with us, but we are very open to do that, because I think it shows the willingness of that writer to work. And I think that's very important, because it is a job and it's work to do the craft of songwriting. It's not just all creative,
Yeah, it's not just, oh my God, me levanté con la musa.
Exacto. You know that's exactly it.
So at what moment do you get into a bidding war for an artist, for a, well, they're artists, for a songwriter, for a producer? At what point do you say, you know what, I really want them. I am going to go, willing to go all the way, see how far it takes me.
Okay, so we don't really get into, I know you're going to laugh and you're going to be like, yeah, sure. But okay, we don't really get into bidding wars like bidding wars because we think that damages the market and is not productive even for the writer or producer. We are striving to change the misconception that a publisher is a pure administrator. We are not just a pure administrator. We also do a lot of the creative. We are the first point of contact. Actually, that's for new and middle writers, and you know, we don't have an agenda. We are not looking for the next single. That's not our job. So, but what we offer, the creativity and the administration, the amazing that we have around the world, is a long-term offer. It's not, oh, let me give you some money and then you're stuck with a team that is not going to do anything later for you. Or yes, but it needs to work for the writer and it needs to work for us also. So we want the writer also to feel comfortable and we want to be in a team. And we actually, more than a bidding war, as we're talking about money, is what is the team behind the writer, producer, artist, and what are they doing and what are we going to do together? That's what we're looking at. And if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. But that's what we offer them. So bidding wars, I just don't like that word because it really hurts the market a lot.
Yeah, but it's exciting the artist about the creative. So I like to
Layla, you're cutting off. Layla, I'm not hearing you well. You're cutting off.
Oh, okay. Is this better? Can you hear me?
Nope. I'm cut.
Oh.
Your sound is cutting off.
Nada mejor? No mejor?
No, can you hear me?
It's not improving?
Okay, now it's much better.
I can hear you perfectly. Now it's much better? Okay.
Yeah,
Alex, pre-COVID, if we look at the Latin market up until March of this year, how has it changed compared to March of 2019 or March of 2018? What had you been seeing in the Latin marketplace up to COVID?
Okay, there's the Latin market is changing on a regular basis now. Since let's be honest, since Despacito, which exploded the Latin market, and streaming, which made it globally, we've seen a major interest in Latin music. So it's not like in the last 12 months something major has changed, but what we are seeing is way more collaborations and the willingness of Latin artists to collaborate with other regions and with other regions like Europe and the US to collaborate with Latin artists. There's way more collaborations. But I think the Latin market and is evolving and changing constantly right now. It's a global genre. So that's what we see.
So Alexandra, did your revenues grow a lot in the last 24 months compared to before? Because I know I see it becoming a global genre. Does that translate into revenue?
All I'm going to answer is yes. That's it. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, we see, yes, we do. We see it.
Okay. No, but I think this is very important. As you said before, this is a business. So one thing is hype and one thing is reality. I don't think we need to know your numbers or any kind of proprietary information. but I do think it's important for the world to know that this isn't just a perception, that it
Correct.
isn't just that Despacito was number one, but that actually you've seen a result from that, and that the Latin market is worth more today than it was 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I think that's very important to establish.
Absolutely. And you see it also. But you know what? You will be able to see it when you look at the charts. Let's look at the charts in the region. 4 years ago, where 80% of the charts, I'm throwing a big percentage, I don't know the exact percentage, but way more than 50% was English-speaking songs. Look at the charts now, and over 50% are Latin songs. And in Brazil are Portuguese, Brazilian songs. So already the charts have changed, and it's more Latin music that is being played. And yes, it's important because also, by the way, you see a lot of English-speaking artists that want to do collaborations with Latin artists to be able to get into the Latin market. And yeah, it is impacting. It is, and also the music, I think has become more global. You listen to the music in Italy, you go to the charts in Italy, and it's reggaeton in Italian. So the influence of Latin music around the world has been huge. It's huge.
So, okay, but let's try and I think it would really help. Like has the number of songs doubled in the last 24 months? Is there anything concrete you can maybe give us that would serve as a guideline here?
No, it's not that. No, I wouldn't say in the last 24 months. I say in the last 3 years, not in the last 24 months. That the amount of Latin songs in the region has doubled. Yes. If you
that's fantastic.
If you look at the charts, if you looked at the charts in 4 years, 5 years ago, you will see a lot of English-speaking US, maybe UK songs in the region. Now you go to the charts, it's Latin, is Latin music, which
and
is unbelievable.
When you talk about the region, you mean Latin America, Spain, Portugal?
No, Latin America and US Latin, but it's Latin America, including Brazil, where of course people think of Brazil. Everybody puts Brazil in the same pot, but at the end of the day, it's a different language and different types of music, and they don't listen to Spanish-speaking music, which is another interesting wrinkle.
So, how important is the region? Understanding the region by how important is Latin America to the overall Latin business as far as you're concerned? And I'm asking because I think that many times the mainstream industry just looks at the US and they don't understand how massive Latin America is in terms of not just extension of land, but revenue. That's why I keep going back to revenue, because really money talks. So how important is Latin America as a region for this business of yours?
Okay, so let me put it this way: in the top 5 territories in the world, in the streaming world, Brazil and Mexico are in the top 5. Now, the economics are different. We do understand that in the Latin American region, the economics are different, and there's is the geopolitical issues, is many things that you know, and it has to do with the inflation. It has to do with government, many things that influence the different countries in Latin America, maybe not to be able to get to the full potential. But because of the explosion of Latin music, Latin America has become extremely important, I think, for the industry in general, and has been also very important for other regions like the US when they have a concert. Like many of the concerts the main territories are Mexico and Brazil. I mean, it's not France or Germany, it's Mexico and Brazil. So it is important. I wish we will have better economics, but we are seeing the market growing very, very fast. It's one of the fastest growing markets. And, you know, besides what's happening right now, we hope we'll get back on track pretty soon and continue growing. So it is very important.
What would you like your mainstream colleagues, and by mainstream I mean colleagues that don't work in the Latin industry or the Latin sector, but who work with you know with the rock, pop, hip hop country, what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding or misconception about Latin music, and what would you like to convey that is difficult to convey?
Latin is not a genre. Latin is the umbrella of a culture. Like, we have many different genres. When they say, oh, Latin music, no, but in Latin music, we have many different genres, from pop to regional Mexican to salsa, bachata, etc. We have a different countries with different tastes. And you know that regional Mexican plays in Mexico is huge, but don't play it in Chile, for example, or in Argentina. And then throw in Brazil. Brazil doesn't play music in Spanish. And their biggest genre in Brazil is sertanejo, which will never go out of Brazil. So the reality is that the reality is that Latin is a highway, and what my colleagues in the mainstream don't understand is there are many exits. They keep going down the highway. I mean, I think that's the better way to describe it. And it's a very, and by the way, it's not an easy territory to understand, because you have different countries, you have different governments, you have different currencies, and you have different taste and different Latin descent, and etc. So it's a melting pot, and it's not just that simple. But Latin, everybody, Latin is not a genre. It's Latin covers many genres, so that's really the main thing.
And obviously, the reggaeton is very dominant now on our charts, and not just on the Billboard charts in the U.S., but everywhere. You know, there's reggaeton everywhere, and we can, by the same token as Latin is not a genre. It's not only reggaeton, it's trap, it's kind of reggaeton lace pop, but this genre is extremely, extremely dominant, obviously. Do you see anything else in the horizon, Alexandra, or are we going to be reggaeton and urban dominated for the next 5 years?
I don't think reggaeton or urban is going to go away. I believe it's going to continue dominating, but I think it might change in other things, like, you know, you have, you know, the Afro-Brazilian funky music that may come in. But also, I believe in the singer-songwriter as an artist coming back, not as we remember the singer-songwriter, maybe a little bit with a twist. But I do believe there is a space for the singer-songwriter to come back and get a niche and being able to get in the forefront. So no, I don't think it's just going to be reggaeton just like that. I think it's going to change in different sounds. But whoever comes with that sound first is the one that is going to be. And by the way, that's why I think collaborations are so important. And I would love to see collaborations with the English-speaking market, because the English-speaking producers working with Latin producers, they can come up with a different sound, and it will be great. It will be great. There's more collaboration in between the two.
So is Universal fostering that more? How are you doing that? And is it a challenge to get the right collaborations going, or does everybody just want to collaborate with Bad Bunny and Romeo, or are they willing to collaborate with more up and coming artists that maybe have a twist?
Well, that's it. It's like when we get requests, everybody wants to collaborate with Balvin or Bad Bunny or Romeo or something, and to the mainstream, the mainstream executives is like, I want to say we have unbelievable Latin artists, producers, writers that will bring so much to the table, but they need to trust us. It's like if our A&R people say, this is a great artist or this is a great producer, they need to trust us. And sometimes because they don't know the name, it's like, oh, no, it's not what we want. We want Balvin, for example. So I think it's more, talking, etc. And yes, but we are doing a lot of things. For example, we did a global song camp last November here in Miami. And when we talk global, we brought writer producers from the Netherlands, France, Italy, Nigeria, Brazil, Colombia. And they were like, we had, out of that song camp, we already have 6 songs placed. And one of them is in Italy, and it's with Etra Lamborghini and Hola Kitty. And then another one is the one with Tiny and Alvaro Diaz came out from that song camp. So we have a lot of things going on, and we don't have a problem because we have an amazing team in UMPG globally, and we work really closely with all the other offices. Everybody's open to work together. So,
and I'm looking at my phone because my questions are here on my phone. By the way, I don't want you to think that
yeah, I'm talking and she's not listening to me.
Yeah, I'm not looking at my text messages. So I have to ask this rather uncomfortable question. But it's not uncomfortable. I think it's a very practical question because I'm sure there's a lot of young songwriters listening today. But talking about collaborations, especially now when you have so many people collaborating in one song, what do people need to do about these splits? Because there are a lot of issues that arise with splits after the fact. So what is your blueprint for this?
Okay,
or your guidebook?
Thank you for asking, Leila, because that is so important. Listen, I know the writers and producers go to the studio and they are the whole night creating, and then when they're done, they just gonna go and have a party, or they're gonna go home, or that's it, they're done and they leave. It's super important that they understand that, remember, this is also a business, and you create, and what you create is your business. It's going to be for your business. And for that, you need to have your business in order. They need to work on this. My recommendation is to please, before leaving the studio, sit down and talk about the split. I know that's the uncomfortable question, but you know what? They need to learn that that's part of the whole creation, producing, etc. It's not like, let me do a leave and somebody else is going to take care of it, because then we see a lot of issues with that. So they just need to get comfortable with themselves, that at the end of the session, they need to say, hey guys, let's talk about this split. And it's part of your job. It's part of the job of that creator to do that. It's not just creating. So my recommendation, don't leave the studio without, talking about it.
And you do see the artists following this advice more and more?
No. I mean, no. I have to ask my administration department. I kind of hear they're always complaining, oh my God, there's this issue with the split. So I don't think so, but you know, no,
But
I
it's
don't
great.
think so.
Oh, and aside from that piece of advice, which is great, but it is great. I think that if they all hear the same speech, then maybe they can all get to the studio with that idea. What advice do you give both new and established songwriters? And I ask because there's, you hear issues with songwriting and rights all the time, even from artists who are very established. And so what advice do you give them? I'll give an example without naming names. Recently, there was a case of an artist whose song was used by many artists. It was sampled in a lot of social media, and no one had asked for permission to use the song or had given credit for the song. So what advice do you give new artists and your established songwriters as well when it comes to their
Well,
publishing?
well, I mean, I know the instance that you're talking. I think we can say the name. Is that the Carla Morrison issue that
Yeah.
happened? Um, it's very simple. That's her creation. And I'm mentioning it because everybody knows about it. It's her creation. It's not about the money and it's not about the credit. It's her creation, and just ask for the permission. You cannot say you're going to do a song or inspired by a song without asking the person, the writer that created the song. Then the money maybe come in, maybe the writer says, I don't even want the credit, but you need to acknowledge who or ask the permission for something that is not yours, it's somebody else's. So it's very
How
important.
about
Publishing it, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and how about advice to the artists themselves? If a brand new artist comes to you with great songs, what is the essential piece of advice you give every budding songwriter?
Learn the business, the actual business, because that's where we see sometimes the problem. They create and then they don't understand all the other things behind, that they need to take care of, from asking permission if they're using samples, for example, or somebody else's song, or signing something or giving something away. Okay, here is my song for free. Well, you can have it. They need to learn the business. They are creators. They know how to create. They know how to do that, but they need to learn at least the basic
The
business.
basics.
Yes.
And Alexandra, COVID obviously has changed dramatically the way songs are written, produced, executed, etc. Across the board. But is there anything in particular that have you noticed in the Latin market that's notable that you want to highlight, especially because artists are in all different places of the planet, no? So what have you noticed that you find encouraging and maybe uplifting and exciting?
Okay. So one of the things that I find is that you call people and you find them. Because you know how it is. It's like, oh, I call you 5 times, so I'm busy in the studio, or I'm busy I'm on a plane. I can no, you can find people. No, seriously. I think that we haven't. I think that the creation has continued. I know it has been a little bit difficult for some writers to do it via Zoom and not being in the studio, but the willingness to continue creating is there. And I believe that after all of this is going to pass, there's going to be a major explosion of creativity, even more. It's going to be very exciting.
And have you had a lot of collaborations happen, international collaborations during this time? Anything you can mention?
Yes, there was there has been song camps. There was a Sebastian Yatra song camp that was amazing with
A
many
virtual song camp?
yes, with very top producers from the US that in Latin that was put together. And
That's
there
pretty
was,
great.
yeah, it's amazing. There was also something between top producers from Italy and a known artist, well, an artist that is starting from here, from Miami. So yes, the collaborations continue, and great things. By the way, as I mentioned, we have songs that have been played from song camps. The same as we did a Sync song camp. We did a 14-day challenge Sing song camp when the COVID started, where we had people from all over Latin America, and we put people together from different countries to do that Sing song camp. So we've been doing a lot of that stuff. It has been very successful.
And Alexandra, the other major, happening in the world right now, obviously, beside COVID, is the whole Black Lives Matter movement here in the United States. Have you found that a lot of your writers are reacting to Black Lives Matter? Do you find that there's maybe an added influx of songs that are talking about equality and differences and similarities? Have you noticed anything like that, or any collaborations that are tied to that?
Not in the mass, like in the big way, like in the U.S. But yes, I think there has been an awakening with a lot of writers, producers, executives in general, and we're doing actually something very interesting from Brazil. And I don't want to talk about it very much right now, but we are going to put together and touch in that issue, because for us really it's a social issue. It's I believe more than a racist issue, it's a social issue that includes everything. So we're going to be we are in the middle of preparing a huge project that is going to come out of Brazil, and it's going to include people from Africa, France, and all of Latin America. So yeah, I think there is an awareness, and we need to be conscious in how we do things.
Okay, do keep us posted about that. And almost forgot to ask a very, very key question, which is, of course, streaming. Streaming is the biggest way people consume music right now by far. And I think that for Latin America, this has been very transformative, right? So because music that before was not able to get around the world, now people are able to consume it in all the different streaming platforms. So how has this changed the equation for your songwriters? And given that streaming doesn't quite replace the mechanical royalty, right? And you correct me with all of this, what are they doing so that they are able to, if they get 500 million views, are they making money?
The best way I can answer is that definitely we are underpaid in the region. And we hope the DSPs will recognize that, because if you look at it, in the top 5 countries in the world, you have Brazil and Mexico. So I think, that's a perfect example. So, it's a growing market, but we hope that will change, and I'll keep you updated on that.
How do you see the future for Latin publishing, Alexandra, for the next 12 months? Is it bright and beautiful?
Gorgeous. Gorgeous. That's all I have to say. Everything is good. Everything is great.
Bueno, congratulations on your Ascap win. Very, very happy for you. Great writers on that roster: Bad Bunny, Romeo Santos, J Balvin, as you mentioned, Gloria Estefan, right, who's coming up with a new album. So yes. Congrats, and looking very forward to hearing your news on Brazil and your song camp. So thank you so much, Alexandra, y felicitaciones.
Gracias. Thank you, Leila. Thank you, Ascap, and thank you everybody that has been watching.